and welcome to the Energy Revolution, the show for those who know there is something more, who are searching for the answers and meaning of life, who want to create change in their own lives and resolve these situations in our wider world. My name is Yvette Taylor and I am your host. We will be talking all things energy, from the world of science and spirituality into how it connects with our whole society and how we can create change by understanding how to shift energy in ourselves, in our lives, in our work and the wider world. Together, we're going to be using a technique known as EAM, the Energy Alignment Method. And if you're totally new to the community and want to discover the power of EAM for yourself, please go and visit discoveream.com/pod. Now listen, this really is no ordinary show. What you find here will be the answers you've been searching for. And I know in my heart that there is a reason you're listening to this today. So this episode is all about how to change your life, which is really one of the biggest underlying themes that sits behind EAM. In the previous episodes, we had the conversation around some of the science, around the spirituality, how our energy systems are built, how the two things work together, how they create and shape our life experience. And like I said, these first few episodes are really a top level kind of skim across the surface of what's really possible. But what I want to do in these first few episodes in this series is just give you a glimpse or an understanding of what EAM is really all about. You know, some of the key philosophies, some of the key principles that sit behind it all. And particularly that's what we're going to be looking at today is some of the myths that have been in and around the personal development industry, many of which blew my mind and wound me up. And yes, I have done EAM on them, but they actually sent me off on the wrong path for a very long time. And I've seen the same happen with thousands and thousands of other people too. So today we're going to have a conversation about those, because once you understand that some of the things you've heard before might actually be the things that are holding you back, then you can put a new process in place, one that will actually help you to change your life for the better. So get ready to release the beliefs, the patterns, the stories, whatever it is that's been holding you back. And we're going to take a look at how to create an attractive vision for your future, for your life. Now, I know that with everything that's happening in the world right now, it can feel so easy to just forget about changing your life or building a future. So many people that I speak to feel hopeless or helpless, or that it's a little bit pointless, because whatever it is they're planning or whatever it is they wish to do, every time we kind of make those steps, it seems as if it's taken away from us. And there's no doubt the world is changing at a weird, random and very crazy speed, and there are some crazy things happening on the planet right now. However, lots of people are still just carrying on as normal, whatever normal looks like. But I think right now it's easy for us to just want to give up. Let the TV be our best friend. Sometimes getting stuck on the dark web, holding our head in our hands, thinking, WTF is the world coming to? But here's the truth. All the same principles that we're about to share here have always applied in your life. Always. And I believe that instead of giving up, now more than ever, we need to lean in. Whatever is happening in the world, we have a choice over how we think, over how we feel, over what we're experiencing, over what's happening in our life experience, even when it can feel like we are powerless to create the change. And that's because we've never really understood the power that we have individually and collectively when we all come together in a place of flow. Now, this means understanding ourselves on a much, much deeper level, which of course in my world means energy. But you've probably heard the saying before, be the change in the world that you want to see. And I know it can sound really cliche and it can sound really trite, but the truth is that is how we create the change. You have no idea how much of an impact you believing in your dreams and vision make in other people's lives. Actually, where are we? I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's Wednesday today. And on Saturday, there was a march in London, a march for medical freedom. And I've been on a few recently. And this one was much smaller than many of the ones before. But still like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people there. And we marched through Brixton in London, Brixton, Clapham, out through sort of the south. And there were a few moments when I was like, why are we doing this? Like, what is the point? Is anyone going to listen? Is this going to make any difference? And literally, as I heard that, I heard a lady on the side of the road and she said, she took her mask off. I'm getting all emotional. She took her mask off and she said, do you know what? You guys have given me hope. Now I think, sorry, that got me more than I thought it would. Right now, with everything that's happening in the world, I truly think that's what we all need. And the thing is, you don't need anybody else to give it to you. You do not need anyone else to give you hope. Whilst I am thrilled that seeing tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people standing up for what they believe in touched her life, and probably tens of thousands of others, you don't need anyone else to give that to you. You can find that hope within yourself. And it comes from being in that place of alignment, knowing your truth, knowing what's important to you, and most importantly, actually living it. So I'm saying that because you have no idea what an impact it makes when you show up in alignment, when you show up for yourself, when you show up for what's right for you. So, with all of that said, that was a much more emotional start to the show than I thought it was going to be. What I really want to talk about are some of these myths that stand in the way. Some of the things which I know I heard for a very long time in the self-help industry and actually led me off on some weird and wonderful paths, ending up feeling frustrated because I couldn't figure out why. Why were things going wrong for me? Why couldn't I figure this stuff out? Why wasn't things changing in my life in the way that I wanted them to? So I'm very grateful because in a way, this is what sent me on my search to understand the world of energy. But what I also discovered on my 20-odd years of searching was a bunch of half truths. Now, I'm not going to call them lies because they aren't lies per se. They're just not the complete picture. There are a few self-help myths that we often come across where people have read, seen, or interpreted information or half stories. Myth number one that we need to debunk. To change your life, you just have to think positively and say your affirmations. The truth is, you have to let go of resistance first. You have to let go of resistance and negativity before you do the positive work, before you ask for the affirmation, before you request anything, because whatever it is that you're asking for will come from a place of lack, negativity. That negative, heavy energy will outweigh the 5 seconds of positivity that you put out there. So I'm not saying that it's not important, but like I said, this is often a half-truth. Yes, do the positive work. Yes, do the affirmations. Yes, focus on your intentions. Yes, do your visualizing. And you have to let go of the thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and things that are holding you back around that subject before those positive things will work for you. Now, this is exactly what the 5 steps of EAM are all about. Steps 1 to 3 help you uncover exactly what that negative thing is that's standing in the way and holding you back. Step 4, we let go of the negativity or the resistance. And step 5 is then when we do the positivity piece. That's when we request. That's when we ask for. That's when we allow. So that's myth number 1. Does that make sense to you? Is that something you've experienced in your life before? Does it resonate with your soul? I would really love to know. Please let me know if that makes sense. Okay, myth number 2. We have to deal with this one because there are a lot of very popular movies and books that came out some 20 odd years ago that painted a beautiful picture of the life that you can create with the law of attraction. But often what was shown is that this is the myth. The law of attraction is quick and always gives instant results. Always gives instant results. And you have to say it in that very salesy voice. Now, this myth has led to a world of people looking for a quick fix solution. And then when their manifestation hasn't arrived in their life within 24 hours, they feel like a failure. They feel like they give up on themselves. They think that they're wrong or somehow broken. And then what they end up doing is changing their focus and giving attention to the very thing that they're trying to move away from. So they focus on the fact that it's not here, the fact that it's missing, the fact that it hasn't shown up, something wrong with me, something da 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 da. And what ends up happening? We give more of our energy and attention to the fact that it's missing, to the fact that it's not there, which only goes on to create more of the same. Now, let me be truthful. The law of attraction can be quick, and the law of attraction can give spookily quick results when your energy is in alignment with the things that you're asking for, and you know how to keep yourself in that space. And they're two very different yet very important things. We have to let go, as we talked about in myth number 1, you have to let go of the thing around that subject that is holding you back. And you have to find out what those things are around that subject that are holding you back. Now, sometimes, please remember that manifestations take time, or what we experience as time. They don't always just appear overnight. Maybe you're not ready for it. Maybe the universe has got a bigger plan for you. Maybe you're asking for the wrong thing. Maybe you're asking for something from a place of fear, and actually the universe doesn't want to bring it to you because it is not for your highest good. Remember, we live in a co-creative world, and sometimes other pieces of the puzzle have to fall into place, particularly when there are other people involved. You know, we are not here to change other people's lives. When you work in the world of energy, you can definitely do work to influence a relationship or situation, but we're definitely not here to mess with somebody else's life path or journey. So I hope that's clarified myth number 2. Myth number 3, it's all about an abundant mindset. No, being in alignment in your life is about so much more than mindset. There are so many amazing techniques, processes, and therapies out there that focus on shifting the way you think. Now, when we step into the world of energy, your thoughts are exceptionally powerful. You know, they have been shown to travel literally across oceans and influence things in scientific studies. Somebody in flow sending directed thought is powerful. Similarly, somebody out of flow sending directed thought is possible. So when you feel like you're, someone's sending you bad juju vibes, you're probably right. They are. However, your mindset is just one expression of energy in your life. This is why with EAM we work in the world of energy, because energy is what comes before mindset. Your mindset is an expression of something that's happening in your energy field. So by working on the energy, whether it's in just, those three energy states that we've talked about before, the reversal, the resistance, or the receptive state, by shifting your energy, you create changes on every level. You shift it in your energy field, you do change your mindset, the thoughts, beliefs, patterns that you have. You also change your emotions, and you also change the 3D experience of what's going on in your life because you changed it at the source. It's like knocking down the very first domino in the situation rather than knocking down the fourth or fifth. So when you hear people talk about it's just mindset, yes, mindset is important and it's an expression of what's going on in your energy. So if you can find it in the energy field and change it there, you'll definitely see things change in your mindset and the way that you think and the way that you feel. And of course, you can use EAM to work on your thoughts and your beliefs and your patterns and your programming and past experiences and memories. Absolutely, you can use it. But really what we're doing is working on the energetic impact that those things had. Make sense? I'd love to know. Please let me know if that makes sense to you as well, because it makes perfect sense to me. Sorry. But sometimes, just let me know underneath the video. Does this work? Does this make sense? Okay, myth number 4 that we have to resolve. Just ask and you'll receive. The law of attraction is seen as this magical principle that will literally make you a millionaire without you having to do anything. This, for me, links back to that quick fix mentality. How can I resolve this? How can I get these results fast? The law of attraction is actually really active rather than passive. You do have to get involved in the manifesting process. It's not to say that some things won't just appear out of the blue. I'll definitely share some stories with you of things that I've manifested. And I did take action, which is called following the flow. So there are a few things that go into the manifesting process. Number 1 is making sure that your energy is actually in alignment with the thing that you're asking for. Number 2, specifically getting clear on exactly what it is you're asking for, and being specific is really important, because if you're asking for, a new car, it might be new to you, but you might end up with a rusty old bucket. But if you're asking for a brand new Audi Q8, whatever it might be, that's got the electric doors and windows as an electric car, and it's in black with the sexy alloy wheels, which I am asking the universe for just so that you can hear me manifesting. That's very specific. And it's all about the vibration of your energy when you ask. Paying attention then, after you've made your request, to those intuitive nudges, those chance opportunities, those emails that fall in your inbox, the book that lands in your lap, the person that suddenly gets introduced to you, completely out of the blue, and saying yes. Because you never know behind which door or that next step everything you're asking for is going to unfold. The problem most people have is that they ask and then they are not open to receiving. And you'll know that someone's not open to receiving when they're like, no, can't do that, no, I'm not, can't do there, can't go there, making I will politely say, excuses as to why they can't do something or why they can't take the steps. They're very clear reasons, very clear indications that you're not in the receptive open state. Yes is the answer if it feels in alignment with your heart and your soul. And beyond that, that's when the manifestation really occurs. That's when just asking and receiving will work for you. But you can't just sit on a mat and meditate all day, every day. Some people do. And yes, it does the energy work, but we live in a 3D world. So you do need to take action. And what we talk about is called aligned action, meaning action that is congruent with the thing that you're asking for too. Make sense? Let me know. Myth number 5. You have to dig for the root cause of your issues or talk it out. Okay, we have to have this conversation because there are so many amazing, please know I'm not being disrespectful, there are so many amazing tools and techniques and therapies out there which have helped people massively. However, nobody wants to relive their pain. Nobody wants to go back through past experiences and talk about what happened and place blame on who was responsible and feel the emotions of it or relive it in depth. Because actually, what we end up doing is re-traumatizing ourselves in the moment. Now, within EAM, we talk about 3 different energy flows: the reversal, resistance, and receptive state. Now, if we have been in any traumatic situation, it doesn't have to have been a major life event. It's any situation where we didn't have a coping mechanism for it. So that, like, the first time we've come across this, it can be something as simple as someone jumping out from behind a door. It doesn't have to have been a big trauma. Yet, when there's been big traumas, there will almost certainly be what we call the energy reversal. This is how they're created. Now, what actually happens when we start doing work, if we are using techniques or therapies which require you to talk it out, what we end up doing is confronting these energy reversals all the time. And very often they play up. If you could imagine, it's like that part of you stayed that age. You stayed 7 years old, you stayed 16 years old. And sometimes this might explain some of the behaviors that we have, where you find yourself putting yourself in, back in child mode. But nobody wants to relive their past. And the wonderful thing is you actually do not have to. Now, this is a really important piece of the puzzle. Please know if you are, a counsellor or psychologist or somebody who's working in that field where talk therapy is the thing. I am not being disrespectful. I am sharing this because actually, when you step into the world of energy, you can create massive shifts for people, massive shifts without having to relive the pain. Yes, you need to do some exploration. Yes, we need to identify where it began. But once you found it, you don't have to talk it all out. You don't have to relive it because we can shift the energy reversal, which is what's causing all the problems that show up as trauma and pain and emotions and negativity and self-sabotage. When we deal with it in the energy field, everything literally just disappears. So the reason I'm saying all of this is you can get clarity without having to relive the pain. And that is such an important piece of the puzzle for everyone to hear, particularly if you know you've got life stuff. We all have life stuff, particularly these last 18 months. Almost every single person on the planet is in trauma, or has been in trauma, or has been traumatized on some level by what's going on. So what I want for you is ease. I don't want you to have to spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in therapy, because you don't need to. We just need to teach you how to use the 5 steps of EAM and how to safely explore it on your own or with a mentor, to let go of those things in your past that are holding you back. And it really can be that simple. So one of the biggest, I keep saying this for everything, but they are all really important. One of the key things, and really what we're doing within EAM, is shifting ourselves from the old paradigm, and I'll explain the difference between the two in a moment, the old paradigm to the new. So when I talk about the old paradigm, what I'm really talking about is a world, ironically, which is governed by fear, manipulation, control, being better than someone, being one up on somebody, where we're brought up to believe in lack rather than there being more than enough, where our self-worth is based on what we have, where we are at effect of the external world. I think you get the picture. It's pretty much the world that many of us have been brought up in. The new paradigm is the world that all of us want to be in. It's where love is the most important thing, where self-expression, where compassion, where supporting one another, where coming together instead of division where we are recognizing the power that we have instead of feeling disempowered, where we know that everything is actually working out for us instead of feeling like we are at effect of the world. So the reason I'm sharing all of this with you is really what we do with EAM is every time you put those 5 steps into practice, we are shifting consciousness. We are shifting your conscious awareness from the old paradigm, which is anything. That's what we do with step 4. We're letting go of the old paradigm. We're letting go of fear. We're letting go of control. We're letting go of limitation. We're letting go of anything that limits us or holds us back. Now, whether that's something you did, whether that's something someone did to you, perhaps it's your life experiences, perhaps it's what's going on in the wider world, perhaps it's how you were brought up, perhaps it was your school teacher, perhaps it was your parents. But whatever it is, those things have impacted you energetically. It impacts all of us. There is not a person on the planet who doesn't have stuff to deal with. And anyone that tells you that they don't, run a million miles. Any coach that tells you that they don't still have stuff to do, I truly ask you to question that, because all of us are still on our life journey. And no matter where you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter how successful you are, there is always a limit to your current experience, which means that there is always a step beyond where you are right now that you haven't yet met. So the reason I'm sharing all of this with you is because everything is about stepping into the new paradigm, and for us to create the change that we want on this planet, for us to see the world in the way that we truly want it to be, that is what we need to do. Change within ourselves, let go of those limitations individually and collectively, and step 5 in the new experience, the new thought, the new belief, the new pattern, the new emotion, the new community, the new connection, the love, the transparency, the truth, whatever it is you're asking for. So underneath all of this, every time you put the 5 steps of EAM into practice, you are actually creating the new paradigm in yourself and in the wider world. This is a key, massive part of the vision and the mission with EAM and so many other tools and techniques that are out there. The more in alignment we are, the more free we are, no matter what's going on in the world. And that freedom and that hope is something that you can have whenever you like. All you need to do is shift your energy state from the old paradigm to the new, and just watch your life transform. So how do we put some of these law of attraction or change your life principles actually into practice in our day-to-day life? Sometimes there can be too many things to try and remember, but actually the steps that you can take every single day are really, really simple. Here are a few, I'm going to read them off the list for you, but here are a few things that will really help you to stay in alignment. Like, I always imagine it's like walking along a tightrope. Staying in alignment, you can fall off. Someone might pull you off. Someone might pee you off. Someone might wind you up, but you can get yourself back on. And there are a few simple things that you can do to help you maintain your flow state throughout your day. So here they are. Number 1, pay attention in the moment. Notice your energy throughout the day. Readjust and align yourself as much as possible. I'm not saying that you never get wound up, because you definitely will, but once you recognize that you're in that space, get yourself back on. Number 2, notice the goosebumps. Have you ever been in a conversation with somebody when all of a sudden you just get this ripple of energy and everything just feels like, oh my God, that just feels so true for me. That just feels like I'm actually meant to be here. That just feels like I'm totally on purpose. Pay attention to the goosebumps, because that is a sign you are in alignment and on the right path. Number 3, everything is energy. Everything is energy. And once you truly live this, not just know it as some nice philosophical idea, truly live this, that's when you have the power to change your life. Because nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can change that. Nobody can take any of your energy or your capacity to shift energy away from you. You are the only person that controls your flow state. You might let other things and other people direct your energy, but you are the one that can always bring it back. Number 4, take responsibility. Please take responsibility. Own what you think, own what you feel, what you do and how you communicate. By taking full responsibility, that means recognizing when you are in a bad mood before you communicate. Recognizing when you are out of flow, when you are in blame, shame, guilt, overwhelm, manipulation, when you're in any of those places, just own it. Own it. Do the energy work to let it go, and then get yourself back into that place of being response-able. Break the word down, response-able, which means you're able to respond in a situation instead of react. Number five, super simple principle. Release the fear. Let go of any overwhelm, any stress, any anxiety, anything that is causing you to be in a place of fear means very clearly that you are out of alignment. And when you're out of alignment, you are not in the manifesting state. When you're not in the manifesting state, it means you're not creating the life that you truly want or deserve. So fear, like many of the low vibration emotions, overwhelm, depression, powerlessness, anger, trying to think of all the rest of them, jealousy, blame, worry. There are so many emotions that tell you that you're out of flow, that tell you that you're out of alignment in the moment. So simple principle for staying in flow, number 5, is release the fear. Simple principle number 6 is make your alignment your top priority. And what I mean by that is give yourself even just 5 or 10 minutes every day, first thing in the morning, to get yourself into the flow state. What can you do? How can you show up? Do EAM to open your energy field. Work on releasing the resistance or the emotions or the negativity or the tiredness that you wake up with, and align yourself to being much more in flow. When you make alignment your top priority, everything in your day just works out for you. Number 7 is step out of the drama. Step out of the drama. Step out of the drama and into your power. Now, what I mean by that is recognizing, and we will talk about this, we haven't even had this conversation yet when we come to talk about relationships, but there are so many different energy dynamics that show up in our relationships, and 3 of them pull us out of the flow state. We allow ourselves to get sucked into conversations, into other people's drama, to get sucked into stories, to get sucked into excuses, to get sucked into blame. So much stuff goes on. And I'm going to hold my hands up to that, because I know, even having done this for like the last 20 years, there are still days when I slip into that. There are still days when I get peed off. There are still days when I feel a bit sorry for myself, but I pull myself out as quickly as I can. I do the energy work on what shows up, because it's just something that is still active in my energy, and then get myself back into my place of power. Now, sometimes being in your power looks a bit scary to other people. Often you'll find people say things like, "You've changed." It's like, yeah, I have. I'm not stuck anymore. I'm not held back anymore. The next one is about finding forgiveness. Super simple principle, because the only person that is left affected by unforgiveness is you. No matter how many grudges you hold against somebody, no matter how paid off you are with them for things that they did or didn't do, that unforgiveness is eating you up. It's eating you up. It's holding you back. It's stopping you moving forward. And I know so many people, myself included, used to be myself included, that get stuck in not forgiving others because we kind of want to hold on to the grudge because it feels like a badge of honor. They did this to me. They did that to me. These are the things that they did wrong. When truthfully, you can just EAM it and let it go. No one is keeping a scorecard of the grudges you're holding, or, oh yes, that person's definitely more in the wrong. It's just you. And it's holding you back in more ways than you can possibly imagine. Be compassionate. Just be compassionate. And again, with everything that's going on in the world right now, that is often easier said than done. Everybody's on their own journey. Everybody's on their own life path. This is probably one of the biggest spiritual conscious awakenings ever on this planet. Now, whilst you may be a little bit further, not that there is any competition, but whilst you might be a little bit further along your journey, just understand where people are and try not to jump into the drama with them. Now, of course, when someone says or does something that pushes one of your buttons, compassion might fly out the window because they're pushing your buttons. They're working on your beliefs. It's in conflict with your beliefs. You are never going to like everybody. You're never going to agree with everybody. But it doesn't mean that we have to be rude. Definitely doesn't mean that we have to be rude. So try to find a place of love wherever you can. If you feel as if you're about to unleash your anger and venom on somebody, do the energy work on it first. Let go of it. Because what you'll actually find is they will hear your communication. They will feel your communication on a completely different level. Completely different level. Because there isn't any resistance in what you say. Instead, they'll receive the truth. They might not want to admit it, but they'll receive the truth when it comes from a place of love. Hope that's okay. Next is all about recognizing your greatness. Do you really, and I mean this, do you really know how powerful you already are? You already are. We all have exactly the same system. We all have exactly the same capacity. We all have the same ability. All of us. It's just sometimes we've got a few more layers of things from our past to perhaps let go of, or perhaps we're a little bit further ahead or further behind on our journey. But you really do have the power to change your life, no matter what's happened to you, no matter what's happened in your past, no matter what's happening in your present. You have the power to change it by shifting what's going on in your energy. Have high hopes for the future. Super simple principle, but when you let go of the fear of what might happen or you worry about the outcomes of things going wrong, what you actually do is put more energy into the very thing that you say that you don't want. Let go of time. Please let go of time. Super simple principle. Listen, the world doesn't run on your schedule. Dum, dum, dum. Did I say that? Yeah, the world doesn't run on your schedule. Doesn't run on mine either. But trust the universe to deliver what you're asking for when you are ready. And when I say that, I mean when you are spiritually ready, when you're vibrationally ready, the universe will deliver it to you and not before. Sit still and allow. Now, whilst we talked about aligned action and, you can't just sit still and manifest, sometimes sitting still and deliberately getting yourself into that receiving, receptive space is also really important to allow those manifestations to actually occur. So I invite you to sit and connect to abundance. Simple principle is just to sit still and allow. Sit still and allow the flow of abundance into your life at least once a day. By deliberately choosing to get yourself in that space, then you can go into taking inspired action. This receptive state, being in there at least once a day, choosing to get yourself into that place of allowing will speed up your manifestation because you're allowing things to come in. Another simple principle is shifting your attention away from lack. When you see the abundance in everything, whether it's more time, more money, more love, more support, more food, more whatever, this planet is set up for us to thrive. It's only us as human beings who have stepped into that old paradigm way of needing more. Like, I need it all in order to feel good about myself. And there are some people on the planet who are very good at hoarding a lot of stuff and keeping a lot of stuff. But when we switch our energy away from lack, when we truly see the abundance in everything that's going on in our lives, that sends a really clear message to the universe or God, whoever it is that you want to call it. And what that means is you're then open to seeing and receiving the abundance in all forms. Abundance isn't just about money. It comes into your life in so many ways, and you need to be open to receiving them all. Now, the last super simple principle is just to be generous with everything. Give from a place of alignment, knowing that there is always more for you to come. There's always more. What you give out will come back to you tenfold. And that works both ways. If you're giving out negativity, if you're giving out frustration, you'll get 10 times the amount of that back. Likewise, if you're giving out love and compassion, support and help, you'll receive 10 times the amount of that back. Now, don't give in order to receive, because that doesn't really work either. But be generous with what you give. And actually, this is the last one. The last super simple spiritual principle, get my words out, is to release the needing. When you hear a kid like, "Mummy, I need that," or "Daddy, I need that." Does that energy feel like it's coming from a good place? Does it sound like it's coming from a bit of a whingy, whiny place? Yes. And the same applies to us. If we are coming at whatever we're doing from a place of needing, it's not putting out the true energy that we really want. It's not putting out the energy that's going to bring us what we're asking for from a place of alignment. It's going to bring us more neediness and more situations to be in need. Make sense? Now, this one is something that I really want us to dive much deeper into in a future episode, which is all about releasing your past. Now, whilst we talked about this earlier of, you don't need to go back and dig through the past in order to experience it, to relive it. You definitely don't. At the same time, the things that are holding us back are all held in our past experience. Now, depending how spiritual or scientific you're prepared to go, we can also do work on past lives or other life experiences. Now, even the world, for those of you who are rolling your eyes and thinking, "Oh God, what is she talking about?" Even the world of quantum physics has shown that there are parallel universes. Bum, bum, bum. That's a little bit much for a podcast interview. There are parallel universes. There are other experiences. Your energy is living multiple experiences all at once. So when we take this on, and the world of energy isn't as straightforward and linear as the life that we usually live. But when I say letting go of your past, if you do believe in past lives or other lifetimes, you can check in using EAM to explore some of those things. You can check in and see where those things are standing in your way or where those things might be holding you back. Similarly, so much stuff happens in this life. Our time in the womb, we pick up so much of our programming during those 10 months, not 9 months, it's 10 lunar months that we're actually, if your mum goes to full term, it's 10 months. We pick up so much stuff whilst we're in that space. Everything that she thought, everything that she felt, everything she experienced, everything she went through is impacted in your energy. And we are literally born with our programming, with a certain level of patterning. Things that happened during your birth, things that happened whilst your mum was in labour. All of these have impacted you energetically because you were there. You were there at the time. So I'm just literally skimming over the top of this because this is one of many huge conversations that we can have later. But really what I want to leave this part with today is to give you hope. I want to be truthful with you that changing your life is not a straightforward linear up upward movement. If I had my flip chart out, if you could see, I would draw an axis, I'd draw a graph and draw a line that goes right the way up at a 45-degree angle. Your life doesn't change in that beautiful start at the beginning, it just gets to the end. What it actually looks like is some kind of messy, squiggly journey that goes all over the place, full of life's ups and downs. And really, that is what true transformation is all about. This movement between the yin and the yang, between the things that make you feel incredible and amazing, like you're achieving everything, and those times that allow you to reflect and to look at the things that need to change. True transformation is about learning to ride it all. True flow is about learning to ride it all. And that's my biggest intention really for you with EAM, is to give you a tool that works no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter what's going on. And to recognize that there is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not a failure. When your life is in that place where you just feel so low, when you feel so stuck, because what that means is you're in that yin place, you're at the bottom of the curve. And what that means is from there, by doing the energy work, you can pull yourself back up. You can move yourself into that place of flow and alignment, the energy that we always think. The amazing thing about your life journey is that you can never go back. Once you've done that work and let go of the things from your past, you shift, you move, you do move up. And what will then happen is the things that used to be your high points will actually become your low points. And what you'll experience is a new high point. And then once you get there, the energy will go down, but it will never go back down to where it was. It will just go back down to what used to be your previous high point will become your new low point. And that's what the journey of changing your life is really like. It's progressive, it's step by step, it's expansive. And the more energy work that you do, the quicker those transformations will come. So I'm saying all of this because I don't want you to give up. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to have that hope, that knowledge, to remember the truth that you have the power to change anything that's going on, even what's happening in the world right now. So, in the next episode, I'm going to introduce you to the energy evolution. And I know this podcast is called the Energy Revolution, but the energy evolution is really the structure. It's the framework, it's the system, it's the process that I have taken people through over the last 6 years, where we take a step-by-step look at everything in your life and lay out a step-by-step journey, which we're not going to be able to cover on the show, but I will talk through some of it, and we'll deep dive into lots of those subjects in other future episodes. But I want to introduce you to the 10-step journey, which will show you how to work on your soul, all the aspects of you that make you up, your life, your relationships, your home, your lifestyle, and your work. Things like money, your passion and purpose, and how you show up in the world. And it's a step-by-step journey to really help you create those shifts. So as always, now is time for us to do some EAM. For those of you who are totally new to this, I am about to guide you through steps 4 and 5 of the process. And all you need to do is simply repeat these words out loud after me. So I'm going to share 2 statements. The first one is called step 4, and it's you transform. And this is where we do the letting go. This is where we let go of the old paradigm. We let go of the past. We let go of the things that are holding us back. And I'm going to repeat it out loud 3 times for you. Next, I will then do step 5, which is where we create the new paradigm. This is the manifesting step. This is where the magic really occurs. So close your eyes if you can. If you're driving or operating heavy machinery, please don't do so. But step 4, close your eyes, put your hands down by your sides, and I want you to repeat out loud after me. I am ready to release anything and everything from my past which is holding me back. I delete the myths and half-truths which I have followed. I release all elements of the old paradigm. I release all fear, control, lack, and limitation. I let them go for me and all people on the planet. I release this from my energy in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. I am ready to release anything and everything from my past which is holding me back. I delete the myths and half-truths that have led me astray. I release all elements of the old paradigm of fear, control, lack, and limitation. I let them go from me and all people on this planet. I release this from my energy in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. I am ready to release anything and everything from my past which holds me back. I delete the myths and half-truths which have led me astray. I release all elements of the old paradigm of fear, control, lack, and limitation. I let them go for me and all people on this planet. I release this from my energy in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. Take a nice deep breath in and out. So step 4 is all about the release. Step 5 is all about receiving and allowing. The best way to do step 5 is to put your hands up above your head with your palms facing up. If you can't do that, at least put your hands in your lap facing up, ready to receive. And it's simply the reverse. So repeat after me. I am ready to allow myself to live in the new paradigm, to love, to see abundance, to think, feel, and see positivity wherever I am. I am open to connection and being present, to show up as the best version of myself. I allow this into my energy in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. I am ready to allow myself to step into the new paradigm, to love, to see abundance, to think, feel, and see positivity wherever I am. I am open to connection and being present, to show up as the best version of myself. I allow this into my energy in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. I am ready to allow myself to live in the new paradigm, to see love, abundance, to think, feel, and see positivity wherever I am. I am open to connection and being present, to show up as the best version of myself. I allow this all into my energy in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. Nice deep breath in and out. Awesome. Please let me know underneath this, or however you can, let me know how you feel after that. I've got goosebumps all over, which is usually a good sign, as we talked about earlier, to remember to follow the goosebumps. So my one wish for you today is just to pay attention. Recognize whenever you're showing up in the old paradigm, which is anything based on fear, manipulation, or control. And let's face it, there is a lot of that to see going on right now. So whenever you feel you're faced with it, whenever you see it showing up, I invite you to do the energy work on what you're seeing. Instead of getting sucked into being frustrated, being overwhelmed, being disempowered, I invite you, I truly invite you to do the energy work, to let go of the fear, to let go of the frustration. And that is how we will together create these shifts on the planet and birth the new earth, shift into the new paradigm, whatever it is, where we can live together in complete love and harmony. Thank you for listening to the show. My name's Yvette Taylor, your host of The Energy Revolution. If you love this podcast, please remember to subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and a review. And if you love the show, please share and spread this message to your friends. If you want to find out more about EAM or you're completely new, remember to visit www.discoveream.com/pod and you'll get your copy of the 5 steps, a short video, just to see. And like I said before, just come and register. There are a billion reasons to be there as part of the community. You have the power to change your life by simply shifting your energy state. Together together, our ripples will be sent out into the world far wider than you can imagine. Until next time, stay in the new paradigm.